Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny Sue is still spinning on the ones and twos. And right now in the studio, we have a special guest. It's quarantine time with James Negroni. How you doing, James?
Tell me, when will you be mine? Tell me, CONVO couch. You look so comfy sitting there. Is that true? You're drinking beer.
It is true.
Every moment today.
Yeah, come on, Jimmy, sing it, baby. I heard you sing that song before.
Yeah.
And you nailed it.
You didn't, fam. I'm sorry.
Sorry. They always said I wish you'd sing that song as good as Jimmy.
CONVO couch. So how's it going? How are you guys enjoying the apocalypse?
We're enjoying it.
There's a lot of wine involved. It's a lot of drinking.
Yeah, most of it's coming from the progressives on Twitter. Am I right? Come on. A lot of whining.
Oh God. But it's needed. It's needed. You're spanking progressives. They need a spanking.
Well, after every single fucking one of them did not a goddamn thing except a grandstanding speech to oppose the latest fucking apocalypse, I decided, hey, maybe we should pressure them. And so I'm on a pressure campaign because, you know, Chris Hedges predicted Bernie would do this. And I didn't want to believe it when he wrote about it. And it's 100% true. And it happened. You know, when you ask a guy, hey, do you think when the Democratic primary electorate is looking for one thing and one thing only, can this guy beat Donald Trump? And when everyone says Bernie can't because it's risky, because he's a socialist and people don't and everyone gets nervous and Russia likes him. And when a reporter lobs you a softball over the fucking plate and says to you, you think Joe Biden can beat Trump? And you says, yes, I do. You have forfeited the race. You are no longer a serious candidate. You are fucking around. And so it's over for Bernie as far as a presidential candidacy. Even if Joe Biden drops dead from dementia, they're not going to give it to him. They're going to say, he didn't even get half the delegates. He didn't even come close. You can't do that. And they're not going to do it. He's not a real Democrat. The whole fucking thing. It's not happening. So there's a good chance Joe Biden might drop out. They're not going to give it to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
They're going to give it to someone else.
Cuomo.
So just like what they did, and Barack Obama will ordain it. And, you know, Bernie's fundamental resolve to actually tell people why we got Trump. And the reason why we got Trump was because Barack Obama and Joe Biden governed like Mitt Romney for 8 fucking years.
True. And
he could have started making that case 4 years. It's a tough case to make. Don't get me wrong. But I've been making it on stage in fucking comedy clubs, which, God damn it, it's a lot harder or just as hard. So, and make people fucking laugh at it. In the era of Trump, try to get people laugh at Santa Claus. Tell him that Santa Claus is an asshole. I've been doing that at fucking nightclubs. And so Bernie had 4 years to start making that case, to start making that. But instead, he Russiagated for fucking 3 years. He went along with impeachment. He started saying shit like Donald Trump is the most corrupt president we've ever had, when that is just not fucking true yet. Everyone knows that George Bush is more corrupt, easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, I'm just saying so far. And I was listening to Glenn Greenwald's show, and he makes a great point, which is kind of exactly what I've been saying, is that the first time Bernie ran, people liked him in rural areas.
Yep. We were just talking about that.
And because he was such an outsider. And then this time he ran like such a classic Democrat. He started, you know, people don't know what he's for, but they certainly know that Joe Biden is a good friend of his. So Joe Biden's whole campaign was, I'm a decent guy and I can beat Trump. And as soon as Bernie Sanders said, yes, I think he can beat, that's it. The campaign is over. What he should have said was, no, we ran this experiment already. It was called Hillary Clinton 2016, and she lost to him.
Yeah.
And this is This is Hillary Clinton in a suit and tie. And by the way, I don't think he can finish a sentence. And you know why it would be okay if he said that? Because President of the United States has already said that about Joe Biden on television.
Yep.
I don't think he can finish a sentence. And it's fucking true. You know why it didn't become a scandal? Because Biden doesn't want anybody to publicize that the president says he can't finish a sentence because it's fucking true.
Yep. And it's Bernie's campaign
And
that's
Bernie
the problem.
wouldn't say it, which would fucking win him the presidency.
Absolutely.
And he won't say it, and it's true.
He's not
and
going
Joe
to.
Rogan's right when he says they're treating us like fucking morons. You're going to force a demented Hillary Clinton down our throats? Hillary Clinton couldn't win. You're going to try a demented one?
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts. And you know why this is allowed to happen? Because Bernie didn't hold him accountable for cheating him the first time.
Yeah.
There was no price to pay.
Yeah.
And his campaign just wasn't equipped. I mean, you've probably heard a lot about his campaign, and I can talk about his campaign all day. He had people who worked for Center for American Progress, neoliberals,
Inside
the establishment.
his campaign.
Inside his campaign.
The head of his campaign.
The heads of his campaign. Jeff Weber shouldn't be there, period. Faiz Shakir was working for Center for American Progress. They all told him, Bernie, you need to be more focused on identity politics. You can't say this. You can't say that. Mind your manners. You spoke about 2016. In 2016, Bernie spoke to the Midwesterners and the white working class as equals, saying, hey, I know people of color are suffering, but guess what? Poor white people suffered because of NAFTA. Poor white people suffered because of trade. People lost their jobs in Michigan. That's why he won Michigan with flying colors. That's why he managed to get the states that he's not getting. But also, and that was in spite of the election rigging.
Yeah.
Now you add to the layer that they've decided that they were not going to let him get through at all. And he didn't call out the election rigging. And I've asked his campaign countless times, why won't Bernie call out the election? Well, they don't want to look like sore losers. It's going to make him look. They already think you're a sore loser. They're never going to be your friend. They're never going to accept you. So you know what? It's time to take the gloves off and do whatever you can. But at this point, the path to victory is so narrow that he would have to completely change who he was to be able to win over the people.
He already forfeited. He already forfeited. When he was asked the day after Super Tuesday by a reporter, do you think you can beat Joe? Do you think Joe Biden can beat Trump? Which he knows is not true. That Joe Biden cannot beat Trump. And he said, yes, I do.
He's
it's
lying.
like you just forfeited the fucking race. You just you quit. And you handed it to Joe Biden.
Yeah.
That's all people wanted to know. Democratic primary voters. That's all they want to know is can the guy beat Trump? Everyone's telling them that you can't, but they're all telling them that Joe Biden can. So if you tell them Joe Biden can't, you just quit. You just forfeited. There is no race. I hate to fucking break it to you, but there isn't a race. There is no path because Bernie won't walk down it. Yeah. Even if it's fucking there. Yeah. It is over.
It's there, but he's not going to do it.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy, I got a question for you here, too, because this is a dilemma I face. I'm really pissed off the way Bernie Sanders handled this whole campaign. The fact he won't call out the election integrity issues, all the stuff with Tulsi, saying Joe Biden's my friend, Russia baiting.
Except for teach out under the bus when she called out his fucking
Nina
corruption.
Turner as well.
Nina Turner, you know what I'm saying? But here's the thing that I struggle with, Jimmy, when people ask me. It's like, yeah, I'm mad at Bernie Sanders, but there's something inside of me that says I still love Bernie Sanders, and I have sympathy for what's going on, because I just believe now he's not the person to be the leader. He's good with his ideologies, but he doesn't have the strength to be the leader. However, I still love him for the movement that he somewhat created. Yourself?
Oh, of course. Yeah, Bernie deserves a lot of credit for even running in 2016 when no one else would, and he made the case. And then as soon as as Chris Hedges wrote years ago that he doesn't have, I forget the exact wording, I'm going to paraphrase, he doesn't have the inner constitution for what it takes to do this, to lead this fight. He's not going to do it. And when push comes to shove, he's going to shove, so this was predicted. It was predictable, and he was never going to run outside the party. He doesn't really have an adversarial relationship with the Democratic Party. He has a symbiotic relationship with the Democratic Party. That's why he's allowed to run unopposed in Vermont, and anyway, it's a long story, but you know,
yeah, he's a reformist.
I still, yes, I do have great affection for him, no doubt. It was really a sober, you know, great men have great flaws, and his weaknesses just are glaring, you know, and it's just tough for me to take. And his flaws are like of weakness and fecklessness, which is kind of so distasteful. It's not like, oh, he made a strategic blunder. He put all his fucking tension in New Hampshire and he should have put it in South Carolina. It's like that. That's not the problem. That wasn't the problem. There's lots of problems. Most of them is fecklessness, his inability and his lack of desire to go against and critique exactly why we have Donald Trump. He ran like a regular Democrat. He wouldn't turn to Joe Biden when he would say, how's he going to pay for it? And go, well, if you make $60,000 a year, your health care is going to cost $1,200 a year. And that's it total. That's what my plan actually costs somebody who makes $60,000 a year. Your plan right now costs them $20,000 a year. And the reason why you can't tell the difference between $1,200 and $60,000 is because you're paid not to know, because you're bought and he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't make the cash. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And it's fucking nuts.
Yeah. He wouldn't call Biden a liar.
Joe Biden has got his chin sticking out waiting to get it kicked in, and
right.
He just turns around and just doesn't do it. And it's just like, it's like almost as if he's being paid off. I'm not saying he is at all. Go get me. I'm just saying it's like, that's how crazy it is.
No, that's what people are going to start questioning now, right now. What was his intent? It's getting to that point because the fact he won't punch a guy who's lying right in front of his face. Like you played on your show, Trump said, Bush, you lied about the war. Here's Biden saying, oh, I don't have these packs. Bernie, you take these packs. And instead of going, you know what, Joe, you're a liar. He goes, everybody go look at the tape. No, look at him in the face and tell Joe Biden, You're a friggin' liar. He won't do it.
Even when Joe Biden was lying to his face, he didn't say you're a liar. He goes, Joe, you're an honest guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's the opposite of what you should be saying.
That's his weakness. That's his weakness.
It's not easy for us to do this, Jimmy, is what I'm saying. The other day I was on show with Nico, and I'm like, it's not easy to sit here and call out Bernie Sanders. We don't take pleasure at it going, you see Bernie, you know, it's not, we expected, even though we supported Tulsi, to be in the streets with Bernie Sanders if he won this friggin' primary and marching for him for the general.
Yes.
So the fact that we're sitting here now with our hands on our ass and nothing to do, it hurts. It hurts. It doesn't feel good.
But don't you feel like this pandemic changes things? Don't you feel like the pandemic is kind of not just about Bernie Sanders, but people? People are calling for rent strikes. People are rising up and protesting. This pandemic is allowing all the masks to fall off the establishment. You're seeing the empire crumble as we speak. So I think that's going to push people to actually rise up regardless of Bernie Sanders. And I think that's what people need to stop doing, is elevating these people to being deities that they're not. And to actually take matters into their own hands. Stop putting these people on pedestals, whether it's AOC or Bernie. I mean, when people say, I want AOC to run in 2024, I'm like, she's not ready. She's not who you think she is. She is not a fighter. She's more of a reformist, like Elizabeth Warren. I think Bernie Sanders is more of a reformist, too, than a revolutionary. He was never like that guy that's going to fight like what we need right now.
No, you're 100% right. That's the irony of Bernie Sanders, is that he would lead off every rally by saying, it sounds like you're ready for a revolution, and people would go crazy. And then he would actually, he's actually for incrementalism. Because if it was for a revolution, as other people have pointed out, you have to use the leverage that you have to threaten the establishment and make them fear you. Right? Power concedes nothing without a demand. And he would always just ask and whine like he's doing on Twitter right now. He's doing nothing. My whole thing is, why aren't you telling people that, hey, if you guys don't within the week promise Medicare for all and a UBI until the duration of this pandemic is over, I'm going to tell all my followers to go on a credit card strike, a student loan strike,
absolutely,
and a rent strike, and we're going to do it. And I'm going to start organizing rolling strikes at grocery stores, and we're not going to go to work until noon. And then if you don't fucking and we're going to start the next day. And he just won't do nothing. He won't do anything. Like, he won't not only do all of those, he won't do one of them. He won't even mention one of them. So I keep tweeting at him, like, what are you willing? Because he keeps saying, this is what we got to do. And the government has to do this and they have to do that. And we have to have a fourth stimulus bill. And we have to give workers. I go, well, why didn't you put it in the fucking last bill? What the fuck did you vote for the bill that didn't have this shit in it for? Why didn't you hold it up till they put this shit in it, you motherfucker? And the reason is he didn't even know what the fuck was in that bill because he didn't write one fucking page of it, even though he told everybody he did, which was not fucking true.
Yeah.
And that was a grandstanding speech. And what happened was Bernie Sanders let us fucking down and then fucking gaslit people to think that he had something to do. And I'm just telling you right now, it was a fucking huge failure. And he voted for it. No reason he had to vote for it. People go, oh, you know, the media would have killed him if he voted for it. And I go, I think that was his campaign slogan. Vote for me and I'll do the right thing. If the media lets me.
Yeah. They would attack him anyways. So it doesn't make a difference. And I said it should have been 94-2. Even Elizabeth Warren, who said she got involved in politics because she didn't want to see another bailout again.
I wasn't expecting it from her, though.
None of them, they didn't do what the Freedom Caucus did, what they said on the Rising. Get a hold of yourselves and say, listen, we're not going to budge until you meet our demands. And no matter what, we're not going to move on it. They didn't do that.
But he's one person in the Senate.
I mean, the squad, Tulsi.
Here's what should have happened. Let me just tell people always say this to me. What did you think he should have done, Jim? He's one guy.
Yeah.
And I also say, I'm sure that was his campaign slogan. Vote for me. What can I do, though? I'm just one guy. Also, he's a senator. He's one of the most 50 powerful people in the entire fucking world. What he's supposed to do is put a hold on that bill and start organizing a days ahead of time, not the fucking night before, and start reaching out to Elizabeth Warren and the squad and Sherrod Brown and Ro Khanna and start making a statement how fucked up this bill is, because nobody in the country still doesn't know how fucked up it is. All they know is they're getting $1,200. And you know why? Because that's what Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and fucking Ilhan Omar told them they were getting, and they haven't told them the shitstorm that's coming. And the only person that told them that $1,200 exactly the cheese in the trap is Thomas Massey, because that's what that fucking $1,200 is. And what happens when the mouse takes that cheese? The fucking head gets fucking smashed in. And that's what's about to fucking happen to people. And people are congratulating Bernie Sanders for fucking voting for it.
Yep. As soon as Nancy Pelosi kicked it from the House to the Senate, they should have exposed it right there, saying she's kicking it over to the Senate so her, Schumer, Mnuchin, and Trump can freaking work on this bill without the progressives in the House. He didn't do it. The second she sent it over, he should have called out Nancy Pelosi, but that's the problem. It's more important to get rid of Nancy Pelosi than it is to Donald Trump. And same thing with Chuck Schumer. These people are the worst. Nancy Pelosi, there is no sign that this woman's going to go away. And she doesn't care what the progressives want. She'll do what they'll do because you know why? They'll get in order at the end of the day. What did it, Mama Bear they call her? Give me a fucking break.
That's the problem. You're expecting the squad who calls her Mama Bear to actually say something against her. That's the problem. We're expecting people in the Democratic Party to act like revolutionaries. They were supposed to go into the Democratic Party and destroy it and bring us in. What has happened is they've been taken over by the Democratic Party instead. And that's what always happens.
The Democratic Party took them over.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, let me ask you a question. Assuming that Bernie does lose, okay? Where does the progressive movement go after this now and stuff? I know you're a little disappointed in Tulsi as I am, whatnot, but it's a forgivable offense in my personal opinion. I know some people have different opinions, but where does the progressive movement really go? Well, I mean, we had AOC with the grandstanding, but did shit when it came to her time on the floor to get to form an alliance and say, hey, we ain't going to pass anything until you take care of the workers first. Where do we go from here?
The problem is there's a fucking coronavirus, so it's hard to organize. So that really is the problem. So what you have to use is things that are already in place. So that's what I keep telling my progressive leaders. Instead of becoming a fanboy to them, I'm starting to pressure them, and I'm asking them, what are you doing to help get us what we need right now? Are you organizing a strike? Are you organizing rent? Are you asking your people? I said Bernie Sanders famously said that he was dangerous to Wall Street. Roy Blankfein says I'm dangerous. He's right. I am dangerous. Well, now's the time for him to prove it. And he says he's also the organizer in chief. So now is the time to show you're dangerous to Wall Street and you're the organizer in chief, and say, I'm going to have all my followers go on a strike of credit card payments and this payment and that payment and whatever the fuck. And until we do this and that and throw it. And then you know what? You don't have to actually do it if they think you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And but he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't. And people are going to say, I wanted to say, because the people are going to say underneath this video, what the fuck do you think Bernie should have done? Like I said, he should have started organizing. He should have put a hold on that bill. And he should have said, because people say, well, they had to vote for it because people needed the $1,200. So he should have said, I'm putting a hold on this bill until we split this bill up, and fucking goddamn Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer for putting this bill together like this. Yep. And call them out and have everybody at a press conference and call them out and say, do you know how bad this bill is? And let's split it up. We're going to have one bill for the workers and one bill for the corporations. And then Robert Reich was going to tell you don't have to bail out the corporations because we don't have to bail out the corporations. And you know what? The last time when Barack Obama did this, they fucking took him a long time, couple of weeks, months to do this. Now they got it done in days. So this is not a corporate coup d'etat in slow motion. This is a corporate coup d'etat in fast motion. Yeah. And that's what just happened. So people don't realize they just took $4.2 trillion while giving workers nothing. They took $4.2 trillion and gave it to the richest 1,000 people in the country. And why is that important? Well, because we're going into a Great Depression, meaning there's going to be bigger unemployment than there was during the Great Depression. So all those people are going to lose their health insurance, which is hilarious because Hillary Clinton said, well, now Donald Trump should open up the ACA markets again and let people buy it, which is hilarious. No, they lost their jobs, fuckface. That's why they don't have health insurance. So they don't have any money to buy fucking health insurance, you out-of-touch 100-millionaire idiot. That's your brain on capitalism. It's like, that's worse than let them eat cake. That's like, hey, they don't have bread. Well, let's sell them some cake. That's what that is. Okay. So what should have happened is Bernie Sanders should have made them split that bill up. He should have put a hold on the bill, got other support for it, like Elizabeth Warren, Sherrod Brown. I'm just letting people know because no one else is saying what Bernie Sanders should have said. Or should have done. And that's what he should have done. And he should have reached out to the House, and they should have called out Nancy Pelosi for what the fuck she was doing. And what Nancy Pelosi was doing was, while our house is on fire, this is the equivalent of our house being on fire. And then instead of Nancy Pelosi sending a fire truck to put it out, she sent a bunch of criminals to rob the house while it's on fire, and they still haven't put out the fire. So that's why Bernie Sanders is going, we need a fourth fucking stimulus, because the house is still on fire because he voted for the criminals to come rob us fucking blind. And then he sent me an email telling me all the shit he got, which was actually the cheese in the trap. And now you want to know why I'm upset and why I'm going after those motherfuckers? Because they did sell us out. And you know what they got for it? Nothing!
Let me ask you a question. I am a little bit also critical of the Congresswoman about this bill. I thought that she was a little bit too aloha for it, and always she gets the criticism, Jimmy, that she's great when it comes to foreign policy, but she sucks when it comes to domestic. That's the criticism. But if you look at a lot of her policy, a lot of her bills that she sponsors and co-sponsors, she's got a lot there. Do you think that she did not seize on this moment to sit there and call out Wall Street and demand they go back get in session and get a bill for the people?
Nobody called out their leadership, and that was the problem, right? So this is a bipartisan bill. It passed 96-0 in the Senate, and nobody except Thomas Massey called out Nancy Pelosi, who's the speaker. What is the point of taking over the fucking House if you do exactly what Donald Trump and the Republicans and Wall Street and the military? What is the point? You know, Norman Solomon wrote an article last fall about the Squad when they voted to extend the Patriot Act and expand Trump's spying powers as they were trying to impeach him and say he was a Russian fucking asset. And he wrote an article saying, well, what is the point of voting for progressives if they're going to fucking vote for the military-industrial complex and the security state anyway? He's literally was, what is the point? And that's what I've been saying. What is the fucking point? And I also said, if Bernie Sanders runs as a Democrat inside that party and loses, what has he built over these last 4 years? Nothing. And that is exactly true. He has built fucking nothing. He has a movement that he won't use. So it's worthless. What has he done? Nothing. We're all sitting around waiting for him to endorse Joe fucking Biden. He won't even fucking use his following in the middle of a depression when people have no money and he just sold everybody out and the corporations are swimming in cash. He won't even do anything now. It's fucking mind-boggling. It is mind-boggling. And it's funny to see the progressive news space become fanboys instead of fucking pressure and they're starting to come around. It's good. I showed how Sagar and Crystal are starting to call them out, which was nice to see. And everybody needs to call them out hard because they fucked up hard. And it's going to be apparent very fucking soon.
I think we need to give up on people saving us. I think we need to start saving ourselves. And that's why I'm all for the rent strike movement. I'm all for these movements that are happening. I honestly, I don't expect Bernie Sanders to do it. I think he's a reformist more than a fighter. And that's something that I think people have to come to terms with. I think he did a lot for this movement. Like, you know, we're here because of him. But at the same time, I really don't expect him. Maybe he doesn't have the fight in him. Maybe he's tired. I don't know what it is, but now more than ever, people are looking for a leader, unfortunately, and he was supposed to be that leader. And I think we need to move forward. No.
New leader.
We need to move forward.
Kentucky Libertarian.
And be the ones to pressure the government. That's what it's all about. That's what the whole point is a working
right
people's
now,
movement.
Corporations literally got more money. This is the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the fucking world. Mm-hmm. That's what the corporations got out of the coronavirus. And Robert Reich will tell you they didn't need anything, by the way. And so they used this, and the government went along with it, including everybody that we like went along with it and fucked us and gave them. And they didn't even get us health care. They didn't get us a UBI. They didn't get fucking anything for us. And then I get a fucking email like, so now I'm like, well, maybe we can pressure Bernie to capitalize now because it's obvious that everybody's going to lose their job and there's going to be over half the country, if not more, without health insurance. So what are they going to do? They don't have money to buy the. So Trump has already announced they're going to pay for all your coronavirus shit, which has got to be expanded. There's got to be. So I go to and I'm like, this is tailor-made for Bernie Sanders right now. Tailor fucking made. He could twist an arm so easily and get this done. Because they know it's going to have to happen fucking anyway. And he can take credit for it, but he won't even fucking do it because Trump is going to do it right now, and they're going to call it fucking Trump care.
And that's the worst
thing. I get this email today, and I don't know if you can see this, but I'll read what this says. This is from Bernie Sanders, and he's telling you all the shit they got, what they got to do. And he goes, let me be clear. I am not proposing that we pass Medicare for all in this moment. That fight continues into the future. Why are you saying we shouldn't do this at this moment?
The time is now.
What? And then the next sentence is,
who wrote that is what I'm asking.
But for the moment, we must act boldly to make sure everyone can get talk about, it's still a schizophrenic message. He still can't decide what he wants to say. It's fucking crazy. Why wouldn't you go, and now is the time for Medicare for all?
It is.
Obviously, now is the time for Medicare for all.
I think.
What other solution does anyone have?
They're
out of options.
And nothing.
They're thinking
about it
strategically.
I don't know. Maybe there's something. Can you explain that? I can explain it.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Fayez wrote that.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. They're thinking about it strategically. Like, Bernie, let's just get what we can for now. Let's not alienate everybody else by talking about Medicare for all. Let's just focus on right now.
That's bullshit.
That's establishment strategy, politician thinking. That's exactly how his campaign operates. They look at optics more than action. It's a problem. It's a problem. It's been the whole problem.
I'm tweeting at them, and I'm texting them, and I'm DMing all of them. I'm DMing Bernie. I'm Jane. Fucking David Sirota. My friends inside the campaign. Nobody will respond. I sent this to my friends, and only one of them responded, and they go, "What's the problem?" And I said, "Have a good day."
Well, they don't see a problem with it because they think it's impossible to pass Medicare for all right now. That's the consensus.
It's bullshit.
Focus on what you can get for now.
Yeah.
This is a tailor-made situation. Taylor fucking made everything he says is got to be implemented, and he walks away from it at that moment like nuts.
I know. It's like that volleyball player when he sets that ball up when you can just go and spike it down. Yeah. He's refusing to spike. He's going like this too as well. It's a shame.
He gives you one of these. Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
You got to go like this, Jimmy. Bah! And slam it down because, like you said, It is like tailor-made. This is the time.
Coronavirus.
Right now.
Yeah.
Seize the means of production. Tell the fucking oligarchs, you don't give us what we want, we are shutting it down. You don't get any grocery store workers. You don't get any fucking drivers. You don't get ugats. You get nothing until we get ours.
Ugats.
Sorry. Who's naive now, Kay?
Who's naive now, Kay? And they just fucked us. And it doesn't seem to, there's wildcat strikes happening all over the place. And so people don't know that, FDR also needed. There was also the same thing. There was lots of strikes happening all over the fucking place. By the way, you remember if you read The Grapes of Wrath, how they would burn food and all that. They're doing that again. Did you see how they were pouring out all that milk? Did you see that? Oh my God. Yeah. Like a fire, like a fire hydrant, just milk yeah, they're doing that shit. Anyway, it's going to get Mad Max shit because Bernie Sanders did a grandstanding speech instead of doing anything. He did nothing. Same thing with the squad. Same thing with Tulsi. Same thing with Ro Khanna. Same thing with Sherrod Brown, Elizabeth Warren. They just went along with the biggest fleecing in the history of America. It is unconscionable what happened, and that they let it happen without doing anything. And as we already know, we didn't live in a democracy. The Cambridge study proved that. But as Dylan Ratigan described it on my show, is that what we actually live in is an unbelievable, rapacious oligarchy. And so what we do, what we've been doing to the world for the last, 40 years, is we've been, or even longer than that if you read General Smedley Butler, is that what we've been using, our corporations have been using our military to go overthrow governments and then steal their natural resources and give it to Western corporations. We've been doing that all over the world. But so finally a corporate military industrial complex finally did it to us, but they just didn't use the military. They just bought those fucking people and they did it to us. They fucking stole all our net $4.2 trillion to the richest motherfuckers. And they're going to now, when everything is depressed, they're going to buy everything. And it's an unbelievable transfer of wealth. And I don't think Bernie even knows what was in that fucking bill. I bought it. He doesn't still even fucking. It was a 900-page bill. They had it for one night. You think anybody read it?
Nope. I pointed it out.
And they didn't tell anybody that. And they didn't tell anybody. The biggest sin was they didn't tell anybody that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer just negotiated the next generation of income inequality and cemented it. They didn't fucking shame them, call them out, nothing. They all bent the knee. And that's the problem with they're all fucking Democrats and they can all go fuck themselves. I'm done with them. And I'm going at them hard because they're all fucking losers. And they did good work and they did good work. They just fucked up in a way that cannot ever be reversed.
Yep. And they went on the House floor and they bragged about it. They they patted themselves on the ass. They blew sunshine up their ass too as well. Today we're not Republicans and Democrats. We're Americans and help is on the way. That's what they did. They sat there and acted like they were the fucking heroes, Republicans and Democrats. And like I said, it's like The Sopranos. It's over. Time to pick a new movement because this one, baby, is done. We just handed over all of our money back to Wall Street once again, and we got shit for it. And like you said, Jimmy, 6 months down the road, that's when they're going to start taking over these houses, just like they did in 2008.
Yeah, they kicked 5.1 million families out of their houses the last time. It's going to be even worse this time because it's going to be renters, too. It's going to be a fucking shit show, man. And there's going to be, as Dylan Ratigan said, there's going to be some unwanted social ramifications. And I say, AKA riots. And I don't know if you know, in Sicily, they already started storming the supermarkets and in hordes. And then they would just run past the cashiers going, we don't have any money. And so instead of fucking fixing that and giving the people money for food, they called out the military to guard the store. That's not solving the problem.
Yep.
And so I'm sure that's what they'll do here first, too.
I think the one good thing we can all get out of this is that the Democratic Party will be in shambles after this.
As if they already weren't.
I mean,
I don't
yeah,
know
but
if
no,
you noticed,
completely.
But they lost to Trump, so I don't know what kind of shamble was left.
Doesn't matter. They're arrogant enough to think that they can still, that people are still going to vote for Joe Biden. And that's what Neera Tanden and all these other people are doing. They're still vote shaming people into thinking like we give a fuck about what they think. 4 years ago it didn't work. It's not going to work now. People are poorer right now than they were before. They're more angry. You just gave them the biggest transfer of wealth. Do you really think they're going to vote for senile, dementia Joe Biden? And we talked about this earlier. People are freaking out. These neoliberals are freaking out about Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan saying that he'd rather vote for Trump than Biden. But the reality is Joe Biden is to the right of Trump on many issues like trade, the Social Security, NAFTA, and he's more of a rapist than Donald Trump. And the Democratic Party is so silent on this and they're so arrogant that they think that we're not going to notice. They're so arrogant.
Did you say Joe Biden is more of a rapist? You said
than Trump.
Yeah.
I thought you said Joe Rogan. I was
I meant Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Yeah,
no, we were talking about the way they were going after Rogan.
Definitely.
Yeah. The way they were going after Rogan.
Joe Biden is to the right of Donald Trump on lots. Yeah, that's the irony, and it's like they're just running a demented version of Trump.
A more demented version, yeah.
More demented.
Jimmy Nizar G says, been thinking about the way Jimmy Dore says Johnny Pasta. It rolls off the tongue. You should pronounce your name Craig Pasta with an accent on the A. Thank you, Craig Pasta. Ben Riley says, my guess, just a guess, why doesn't he call out the rigging etc? Because he's not Teddy Roosevelt, FDR, MLK, Malcolm X, the type of actor where he'll sacrifice or risk others in the short term for the long-term game. And to him, chaos equals death. You got any thoughts about that, Jimmy? Why he doesn't call out the rigging?
No one will. It seems like a heavy lift, but of course, if he led on it, more people would look into it, I think, and more people would discover, hey, this is fucked up. Just like if he would have said something about what happened to Tim Canova with Debbie Wasserman Schultz and how somehow he magically got 5% of the vote in every fucking category, every demographic, which that seems real. And then how they destroyed the ballots and nobody gets prosecuted because it's really a one-party system anyway. Like all these things would prove Bernie's point if he would just highlight them. And of course he won't. And it's just so unfucking believably. He's so unbelievably feckless. It's just crazy. And it's right there. It's just like sitting right there. Trump proved to you that you could come in and wipe these fucking guys away. People are so ready. Mm-hmm. They're so sick and fucking tired of this system. And Bernie's idea that he was going to energize the 100 million people who didn't get off there. You're not going to do that by running around saying Donald Trump's a racist. He's the most corrupt person. He's a this and that. And Joe Biden can beat him. You're not going to get those people to fucking come out.
Yeah.
That's that he ran like it's fucking nuts. He surrounded himself with morons and people from the Center for American Progress, and he did that on purpose. So it's his fault. And who did he muzzle in his campaign? Nina Turner and David Sirota. The people were actual revolutionaries. And that's why he dodged my show, because you didn't have the guts to fucking come answer that question on my show. Then that's why you get your ears boxed in by Whoopi Goldberg, because you're that fucking weak.
That was hard to watch. That would be thing.
Whoopi Goldberg made him look like a fucking chump child with a 4-year-old question. A 4-year-old question. You didn't work hard enough for Hillary Clinton, and he fucking you fucking feckless moron.
Ben Riley asks, also, why not form a true progressive network that pushes independent candidates so parties don't matter more than the voters? You got any comments to that, Jimmy?
I'm with you. Well, I've been pushing everybody to form. Nick Brana is trying to start a third party. He's been he did a draft Bernie. Bernie wouldn't even meet with us. He had 50,000 signatures. Yeah, Bernie ignored us.
No.
And people don't know that in 2016, I was at the Philadelphia convention. And they turned off the lights. They took credentials away from it was a nightmare. They took everything. And there was people telling everybody you're ridiculous. our own people. He was
Sure,
telling
so
they're saying that to Bernie's followers, and Bernie, instead of sticking up for us, was sending out emails saying, "Hey, cut it out, everybody, calm down, and don't interrupt the proceedings. Be respectful." And he didn't tell anybody that those emails weren't coming from him. They're actually coming from Robbie Mooks, directly from Hillary Clinton's campaign, who he had signed a non-aggression pact with in May before the convention. So he had actually sold out his fucking own delegates way before that convention. And that is a truth no one really knows or talks about. And so that's what really opened my eyes, and I got sober. And that's why it was kind of funny that the same thing happened again to me.
Well, Oz LaFave says, Federation of Independent Media now. Love you guys. Land of Oz from Washington State. Jimmy hugs to Steph. But what about the media thing, Jimmy? Because things are going to be different now after this election. I think independent media has broken through. But is there room for a true independent network of sorts? You know what I'm saying? Like the new TYT of sorts moving forward? Something that's going to really transform and bring the independent media up a level to like being like real legitimate news?
I don't think news is that legitimate. I don't know. I don't know anybody who does. The only thing that polls lower than fucking Congress is the fucking corporate news. I don't think people. So I think that's why independent. But the only reason why corporate news gets clicks on YouTube is because it's algorithm that way, and it's pushed and it's promoted that way, and they're suppressing us. It's much harder to grow right now. It's amazing that you're able to even grow right now. It was much easier. Even when I got in right before everything it was an adpocalypse and everything got fucked. So when I got in, it was not, I was adding 1,000 people a day and stuff like that. It was fun. Those are fun times. It was like, it was like the housing bubble for fucking YouTube news, man. It was fantastic. And, but now everything's clamped down and fucked up, and they claim that they try to help us, but I know we're being suppressed. I know the algorithms demonetize, which also triggers fucking less traffic and all that shit. So, but at the same time, YouTube is still an amazing platform. But the whole thing is that, let's say we did create some kind of independent network and it really made a difference, and we were able to, I don't know, stop a war, they would shut us down immediately. That they would, or they'd buy us. They'd go $20 billion, and I would go, all right.
That's true. I mean, take the money, but no, I think it's going to force us to get to that spot, because even though it is a great platform, the censorship is just going to get even harder and heavier, Jimmy. The more people are listening to all these shows out here that are not spewing the same shit that you see on the mainstream media from Rachel Maddow, the more fearful they're going to become. So I think it's going to have to come to a situation where, hey, we're going to have to go to a platform or something that's not going to put the tape over our mouth. I mean, it's just going to have to come to that, because now too many people are waking up, and real revolution, I think, is inevitable at this time.
It's inevitable. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I hope, I hope so. And I know if it comes, I know one thing: Bernie Sanders isn't going to lead it, and neither is AOC. It's going to have to actually come from the ground up. Probably a union leader. I was hoping Roseanne DeMauro would be that person. I'd follow her anywhere. So
I like Tim.
but it's got to come from there. The problem is a lot of union people are corrupt. Like, for instance, Randy Weingarten, the head of the teachers union, is 100% neoliberal in the tank for fucking corporate America. And I don't know this, but I've heard people say that she actually has ownership in fucking charter schools. I don't know if that's true. Maybe I shouldn't even say it, like, check it out. But I'm a comedian, so fuck off. But I know she endorses people without asking her membership, which is bullshit. That none of her membership voted for her to endorse Hillary Clinton when they wanted her to endorse Bernie Sanders, and she did the same thing this time. But anyway, listen, you guys, it's been great. I have to go. I did this fucking 5-hour show today, so
I know. We're with us, it's 6 hours, Jimmy.
We gotta put the Neera Tanden quote up.
Oh yeah, we got one Neera Tanden thing real quick. We just wanted to get your opinion so you can get out of here on this.
Okay.
So here, Johnny. I can't see. It's not on this. All right. It says, oh my God, I just watched this insanity where Jimmy Dore screams, he lost to me in a, Jimmy Dore screams, he lost to me in a very long, unhinged rant. The power that these people ascribe to me has always been really amazing. Neera Tanden, about you, pal. Thoughts?
What I was what the point was when in my rant, I was like, you already lost. Look who you lost to. You lost to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Neera Tanden. You lost to the establishment. You lost to Tom Perez. You lost to, and the reason why, because Joe Biden's going to lose to Donald Trump, and all those people would rather have Donald Trump be president. That's what I mean. I mean that, yeah, we lost to them because we lost to Trump again, and those people would rather have Trump than you. That's what I mean. I mean, Neera Tanden's for Trump, not for Bernie Sanders. That's what that actually means.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But she also tweeted, the last time she tweeted at me, she tweeted another video of me talking about her, and she says, I usually ignore these videos. They're usually unhinged and whatever. And I'm like, well, how do you know what they are if you're ignoring them? And how much do you think you're ignoring them if you're actually tweeting about them? That doesn't seem like ignoring.
Didn't she see you at the debate?
Yes. So when we went to Miami, the first debate, I was sitting on the aisle, and as she walked by, Steph said, "Hey, Neera." And she turned around and she's like, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And she saw it was me. She was like, "Oh, shit."
Jimmy, get out of here. Fun. Go show Carlo the tree.
All right. I'm going to go show. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Thanks for coming on, Jimmy. We love you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys. All right, so just want to read a couple quick super chats, get them out of here. That was Jimmy Dore, a la James Negroni. Quarantine time. We should have had some quarantine music next time. We'll get that going. We didn't know he was going to jump on in so late. No Gods, No Master says, vote for Vermin Supreme. Vote Anarchy. I don't know if I'd vote for him. I've met him before, and he starts to get serious, but then he goes back to his old boot on the head, pony kind of mentality.
Release that interview?
No, because it wasn't coming out good. It was shot in slow motion. We can never fix it. It was too scratchy. The one with Vermin Supreme. You got a little somewhere. You should put yours up. Mine was shot in slow motion, so it doesn't work. It's hard to accept how cynical this has made me. I thought I was the most cynical person out there, but then they keep hitting you harder with this tragic shit. No shit, Adrian Byers. Thank you so much. And Ben Rowley, you've been awesome, Ben. Thanks for coming on over. We got to get Jimmy on to get you giving us super chats left and right. We got to get Jimmy on every show. You guys gotta, gonna run? Seriously, not kidding. Most qualified radical people never run. And yes, we need real progressives, framework, network, or enterprise to combat the oligopolies.
Are you running, fam?
Fam, if you run, I'll run.
Fam.
You run against Judy Chu, I'll run against Adam Schiff.
Not Judy Chu. Well, I would go to like Washington and work with Kashama Sawant. Because I think she's one of the leaders that I would like to see, like, bam. Take this over.
Fam, we had an hour and a half before.
Land of Oz, convinced pasta.
Land of Oz. We had an hour and a half before. We got 50 minutes now, fam. We got to get out of here. I got a hockey game to go play.
Oh, God.
You guys got Lost to watch. Oh, my God.
What do you guys think about the show Lost? Tell Eva and I, because Eva is obsessed.
Can you guys please
Johnny
tell them about The
it
Sopranos? Too. Please, because they won't watch The Sopranos.
I've seen parts of The Sopranos.
We should watch The Godfather again.
Oh, God. I've seen that movie 10,000 times.
People go, oh, pasta looked red as can be, and Fiorella white as a ghost. Well, I had a beer, and my skin just got all red. I don't drink that often at all. Only in special occasions. Not that white. Jimmy Dore late night quarantine sessions at midnight. It calls for an IPA. I had one, and I'm feeling good. Fam, got anything else?
Fam, I just want to say it's time to rise up, fams. It really is. What, Bernie or no Bernie? I mean, I think Bernie can still do it if he does what Jimmy says, if he brings people together, but I don't necessarily think he's going to do that. So I think it's up to you guys. I think it's up to everybody to continue and not give up. That's it, fams.
Arlene Cruz with the fist. Fee and Pasta, thank you for your time, your insights. Power to the people. We must lead. For Pasta Jardula.
And Fee.
Johnny Sue on the ones and twos. Eva and Boomer 2024 with Brownie. We'll see you soon.
Humble out. Have a wine. Have a sake. Have a beer.
Sopranos, one of the best shows ever made. Thank you, Ben Riley. Don't let them lie. My wages are now garnished for student loans. Fuck this.
Oh, seriously? If your wages are garnished, we got to do something about that. That's fucked up.